The book of Acts talks about increased grace. Mega grace. Acts 4:33 says, with great power the apostles gave witness to the resurrection of Jesus, and great grace was on them. Great is megas. It means, we get our word mega from it. I don't even know how you define mega. I just know it's a lot. And I don't fully know that I understand the difference between a little bit of grace and mega grace. But I just know the Bible talks about different levels of grace. There's grace, and then there's mega grace. And then 2 Corinthians 9 says, He can make all grace abound. I think maybe we're coming into all grace. And you know, to me, grace is when a sinner repents. Mega grace is when God knocks a person off their horse with a blinding light, and Saul of Tarsus gets saved, and he repents after he gets saved. Deal with that in your theology. He finds what he's not looking for. I know that messes with my theology too. You know, if 2 Corinthians 9:8 says God is able to make all grace abound to us, that we have all sufficiency for all things that abound to every good work, then grace would be where we're sufficient for most things, but all grace and mega grace, he says, you're sufficient for every good work. There's a level of grace about to come that is going to surprise people. That which is difficult will become easy. That which has been hard to overcome will become easy to overcome. That which is hard to tap into will be easier to tap into. Gifts of the Spirit will begin to manifest to those that don't even really understand the gifts of the Spirit fully. I remember when my dad began to minister words of knowledge, I tried to get him to explain to me how it worked, and he said, I have no idea how it works. I just look at people and I know things about them, and I don't know how I know it, and I don't know how this started. I just know that I know it. There is a level of grace about to be poured out that is striking. It's awesome. It's going to come to sinners and awaken them when they're not looking. Are you hearing me? They're not going to be looking. It's going to get prodigals when the prodigals don't even know they want to go home. They're going to wake up one day and decide, I'm ready to go home. Sinners who don't believe are going to wake up and say, I believe. Atheists are going to have some light turned on inside of them. God is about to give us mega grace, and the mega grace will produce mega power and mega conversions and mega outpourings and mega breakthroughs and mega gifts of the Spirit. And I don't know how to measure that. I just know God says it's coming. Mega grace for mega power. And mega power is number 3. Because of the great grace, they moved into extraordinary levels of power. We're going to see supernatural events take place in the coming days that are beyond what most of us have ever seen. And if you haven't seen true signs and wonders, undeniable signs and wonders take place live with your own eyes, then you haven't. There are some things that you haven't experienced, because nothing can take the place of a miracle. But I've seen them. I've seen cancers literally vomited up, from stomach cancers, vomited out of people, and before my eyes, the blob be on the floor. I've heard bones crack and twisted limbs straightened before my eyes. I've seen kids take braces off their legs that have never walked before and run around the room. I've seen paralyzed people get out of their wheelchairs and be completely healed by the power of God and take off running. I have seen blind eyes open, people that have never seen before. I've seen it. I've seen autism healed now in the last short season. I tell you, we're about to see some things that we've been wanting to see, and some of us have been believing for, and God's about to flip the switch, and the river of miracles, signs, and wonders is about to flow, and all the prophetic words that have been spoken in the last 15 years about a new wave of the miraculous coming are about to manifest before your very eyes, and they're not going to be limited to the church house. They're going to happen in the schoolhouse. They're going to happen in the office. They're going to happen on the street corners. They're going to happen in mosques. You know, when Philip began his ministry in Acts chapter 8, just a deacon, begins to preach, and God begins to work miracles through him. Just always fascinating. You get to the end of his story, and the language says that many people who were paralyzed were healed. I know what happened when one paralyzed person was healed. I know the kind of stirring it created when one paralyzed person ran around the room. I don't know what would happen if many that were paralyzed. I don't know what would happen if I was in a room with 10 people that were completely paralyzed from an accident or some condition. And not just one, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 got up and began to run around. What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if the young man who broke his leg in the NCAA basketball tournament and the world watched the bone protrude from the side of his leg? What do you think would have happened if one of his teammates would have gone over and prayed for him and his bone would have been instantly healed? He'd have got up and run around the basketball court. Well, that's really no different than the man in Acts chapter 3 that had been lame from birth. And Peter reached down and grabbed him and jerked him up, and he began to run and leap and praise God. The whole nation knew about that miracle. The whole city, but the whole nation knew who this man was. See, I believe these miracles, I believe they're coming in ways that we don't even probably expect. I believe sinners are going to be sitting around bar rooms talking about God. And no Christian is in the room, and one of them is going to get a miracle. I believe Muslims are going to be gathered. And there's nobody there that even knows the Lord. And God's going to come and bring visions and visitations. And angels are going to show up. And miracles are going to start taking place. I believe God's about to break every paradigm, every thing that we've ever built that keeps him locked into our own small way of thinking. And he's about to do things that will surprise all of us, because I believe mega power is about to be released. Mega grace brought mega power, and they gave witness to the resurrection of Jesus.